Gather close, ye brave souls, and hearken to the whispers of chaos trapped beneath the cobblestone streets of a grand city aloft. Within their own confines, the captives have turned captors, asserting dominion in a lawless bastion of their own making. Here, under the watchful eyes of the kingdom's defenders, a cunning mastermind lurks, weaving plots of escape and terror. Welcome to the prison of insurrection. Welcome to the Stormwind Stockade. Beneath the canal district of Stormwind City lies a fortress of iron bars and heavy locks meant to contain the most dangerous mines of the kingdom. The Stockade, they call it, hidden away beneath the flow of everyday commerce and life, guarding the city above from the threats lurking within its walls. Constructed during the reign of King Varian Rin's forefathers, this prison complex was designed to be out of sight and therefore out of mind. Over the decades, the Stockade evolved from a mere holding pen for petty thieves and drunken brawlers to a high-security facility, mind you. It became the primary detention center for criminals whose offenses were too severe for the kingdom's conventional justice systems, housing murderers, traitors, and political insurgents, and playing a vital role in the city's efforts to maintain law and order. Although the prison was heavily guarded, the detained members of the Defias Brotherhood orchestrated an uprising within the Stockades. Their leader, Bazil Thredd, a shrewd strategist, managed to unite the disparate factions of the incarcerated inmates into a powerful rebellion. Together, the inmates overpowered the guards and seized control of the prison. Make no mistake. This revolt threw Stormwind's leadership into a panic and highlighted significant vulnerabilities in the city's handling of its criminal elements. It was during this crisis that Warden Thelwater and his guardsmen, having narrowly escaped with their lives, were thrust into the limelight as they desperately struggled to regain control and restore order within the Stockades. Today, the aftermath of the Defias revolt still lingers. And here's where you come in, my daring adventurers. Warden Thelwater, in his wisdom, is calling upon stout-hearted souls such as yourselves to help quell the lingering unrest beneath the city, to safeguard the peace and decorum of Stormwind above. So, what do you say? Will you answer the call to adventure and restore harmony to our beloved city? Right, off we go then. As we approach the canal district of Stormwind City, take note of the eerie quiet. Usually, these cobblestone streets are alive with the cheerful banter of vendors and the rhythmic clatter of horse hooves. But today, it's as silent as a tomb. Not a single merchant to be seen, not even the usual street performers. It's a peculiar sight, indeed. Let's follow along now. Just ahead, Warden Thelwater and his troops guard the entrance to the Stockades. The Warden, a stern figure marked by recent strife, appears deep in thought, his brow furrowed with the weight of the rebellion that overcame him and his men. They must have had someone helping them, he mutters, to no one in particular, a hint of desperation in his voice. It's clear the recent riots have taken everyone by surprise, including him. Caught off guard by the audacious insurrection led by inmates loyal to the notorious Edwin Van Cleef, his garrison was forced to retreat, ensuring that the uprising did not spill over into the streets of Stormwind and threaten the city's safety. All of a sudden, they were everywhere, Thelwater recalls, shaking his head in dismay. Entrusted with the task of quelling the riots, restoring order, and maintaining his position, he is acutely aware that the solution rests squarely on his shoulders. The possibility that his superior commander or even the king might already be informed of the situation adds a sense of urgency, compelling him to take decisive action. Determined to regain control over the Stockade, he resolves to do so by any means necessary, whether by diplomacy or brute force. As we draw nearer, his gaze locks onto ours, a mix of suspicion and resolve. "What in the light do you want? Can't you see we have a crisis here?" His voice, though harsh, carries a pressing plea for help. His next words are a reluctant admission of his dire need for allies. "I don't trust you," he confesses, "but with the situation as it is, you probably won't make a difference." He lays out his terms, absolute and uncompromising. "Go down there and deal with Thredd. If you're truly on our side, then take him out and bring me his head when the job's done. And keep your eyes peeled," he adds in a low tone. "We've had reports of a Defias spy lurking about. Comes and goes like a shadow, he does, and I'll wager he's been feeding information to Thredd. Find him if you can. Any clue you uncover might just tilt the scales in our favor." His message is clear, and every moment counts. Before us, a path leads into the darkness below. "Either you bring me Thredd's head, or I'll take yours." Thelwater's final warning echoes behind us as we cross the threshold of the overrun prison complex. Let's step carefully now, for each shadow could harbor a friend or foe. Make sure you've got everything. Wouldn't want to leave something important behind now, would we? Onward then, brave companions, the Stockade awaits. As we step into the confines of the Stormwind Stockade, the clang of our boots on the stone floor gives away our presence. Around us, the silence is punctuated by the distant sounds of chains and the soft murmur of hushed voices. Shadows move within the dim torchlight, figures of Defias prisoners, their eyes gleaming with a mix of desperation and newfound freedom. The steel gates of the prison cells, meant to secure the kingdom's most notorious criminals, hang open, their locks broken. These prisoners, adept in the art of disarming, roam the hallways, so keep a firm grip on your swords and axes and an even firmer stance, or you could be caught with your gauntlets down. Heads up now, my dear companions, for our first challenge looms ahead, in the remnants of what was once his holding cell. Let me introduce you to Targorr the Dread, an orc of no small repute, I assure you. This brute, wielding dual blades, can unleash quite the wallop in the blink of an eye. Now, Targorr isn't just any orc. He served under Gath Ilzog as the supreme executioner for the Blackrock clan in the Redridge Mountains. His methods? Oh, they were ruthless, even by orcish standards. It is said that he once executed a prisoner twice on the same day. The poor soul didn't know what hit him, but it certainly keeps everyone else on their toes. His captors hoped the Stockade would contain his savagery, but alas, they were gravely mistaken. Although Targorr was sentenced to death, his execution was repeatedly stalled by a rather muddled and, frankly, corrupt legal system, allowing him to survive much longer than he ever deserved. During the uprising, this savage orc aligned himself with the Defias rioters, birds of a feather flock together, as they say. Now, Guard Burton of Lakeshire has put a price on his head. Literally. He wants the brute's head, and who can blame him? The shadows of his cell whisper of the pain inflicted upon the people of Redridge, now seeking retribution. Without warning, Targorr charges towards us. His movements are swift, powered by an intense rage that seems to make him even more formidable. He strikes without fear, each hit meant to incapacitate and overpower. Steady on, my brave companions, for this orc wields his swords with a fury born of desperation. His thrash ability is unpredictable, granting him a flurry of extra blows that can catch even the most seasoned warrior off guard. Each movement seems to invite further onslaught, a brutal dance of steel that leaves little room for error. We must be strategic, maintaining our defense while looking for an opening in his assault. Watch those blades. His agility is no trifling matter. Stay nimble and guard your flanks. Remember, it's not just strength, but strategy that will win this day. With a coordinated effort, we finally see Targorr falter, his energy waning. Now's our chance. Let's show him the might of Stormwind. With a final decisive blow, we bring the dread orc to his knees. As he collapses, the echo of our victory resonates through the dank corridors of the Stockade. Brilliantly done, everyone, I must say. With Targorr dispatched, we eagerly search for any spoils of victory, only to find, well, absolutely nothing. How perplexing. But no matter, we've secured the severed head of the orc, a grim but necessary token to return to the defenders of Redridge. And rumour has it, the reward there is far more handsome than anything the Stockade would cough up. Ah, the vagaries of adventure. But fret not, my friends. True treasure often lies not in gold, but in the glory of the quest itself. With Targorr no longer a threat, we press on deeper into the dungeon, prepared for the next challenge that awaits in this place. Onwards then, for Stormwind and for justice. Our journey within the somber walls of the Stormwind Stockade leads us deeper into its cold embrace. The air grows chillier, the stones beneath our feet slick with the damp of long-forgotten corridors. Ready your senses, for each shadow might conceal a foe. As we step through the threshold of another cell, we are met by the unmistakable figure of a dwarf. Yet, this is hardly the sort you'd likely find raising a pint of ale in a toast to your good health. Meet Kam Deepfury, a dark iron dwarf whose notoriety is not without merit. Held captive here, Kam has been identified by Alliance intelligence as the mastermind behind the heinous explosion that brought down a bridge at the Thandal Span. A dreadful act, indeed. Outside the walls of this prison, in the murky territories of the wetlands, Motley Garmison clamours for justice. Or should we say, retribution. He seeks the head of Deepfury to settle scores that the law has yet to rectify. But let us not underestimate the stalwart dwarf, for his prowess in combat is both formidable and, frankly, a tad surprising for someone of his, let's say, compact stature. Kam employs a defensive stance, which he maintains with the stubbornness of a mountain, deflecting blows with ease. Ready your weapons, adventurers. We must be swift and coordinated. Exploit the brief moments should his guard falter. As we engage, Kam Deepfury roars with defiance, his shield slam crashing into our ranks like a landslide, stunning those caught in its path. The pressure mounts, but with each well-placed blow, we chip away at his defenses. Aim for the gaps in his armor and don't let up. Finally, a critical strike pierces through, and the dwarf that is Kam falls, his stubborn resolve shattered. The room falls silent as we catch our breath, looking around for any sign of reward. As before, the spoils are sparse, an all too common frustration for explorers of the Stockade. Yet, the victory is ours, and Kam Deepfury's reign of terror has ended. Rejoice in our triumph, brave companions, even if the treasures elude us. The path forward is still fraught with peril, and perhaps more disappointingly, an alarming lack of loot. But with each step, we grow stronger. As we navigate the corridors within the Stormwind Stockade, the distant roars of defiance grow louder, guiding us to our next confrontation. The air thickens with the musk of brutes long confined, a prelude to the monstrous presence we're about to face. Right, chaps, steady on. We're approaching a particularly nasty piece of work. Hamhock the ogre, whose brawn is matched only by his lack of subtlety. And mind you, he's got not one, but two heads, which means twice the trouble. "I'll crush you, me smash, you die," he bellows, each head vying to outdo the other in threats. A comical duo, really, if their intentions weren't so deadly. One might wonder if the two heads ever agree on anything besides their mutual enjoyment of smashing intruders. This brute's a former denizen of Duskwood, if the rumors hold any truth. Perhaps a splinter-fist ogre under Zark Vul's command. No matter his origins, he's a tough nut to crack. Remember, focus not on which head speaks, but on the arm that swings the cleaver. As we encircle Hamhock, mind your positions, our warrior to the forefront, bracing for the brunt of his assault. Mages and healers keep to the fringes. His chain lightning seeks out clustered foes, and its wrath is best not tested. Rogues, find your shadows and ready your blades. Your swiftness will be our best ally against his brute force. The two-headed ogre suddenly turns, his eyes locking onto us, and a sinister grin spreads across both faces. Right then, steel yourselves. Hamhock's roar signals the onset of battle. With a surge of bloodlust, he enhances his already intimidating might. Keep the heels coming, stay on his flanks, and poke away at the savage oaf. And for goodness sake, don't get hit by his cleaver, or you'll be up the creek without a paddle. Those hits are not exactly gentle pats on the back. Suddenly, one of the ogre's heads begins to crackle with energy. Quickly, spread out, or we'll all get zapped to Kingdom Come. The room fills with the sizzle of electricity as Hamhock hurls the lightning bolt, striking one of us and jumping to two others before dissipating into a harmless fizzle. That's the ticket. We don't want to be a living lightning rod. Now, strike. While his attention is caught in his own power, let us use that fleeting moment to our advantage. Our strategy pays off. The ogre's movements grow sluggish, his dual heads unable to keep up with our ongoing assault. Now's our chance. Give it all you've got. With a final resounding cry that seems to plead for just a moment of agreement between his two heads, Hamhock collapses. By Jove, we've done it. Well done, everyone. Gather around the fallen oaf while we catch our breath. Now, extend your hands, brave warriors, for our victory bears fruit. Let's see what treasures this brute was hoarding. Surely, our efforts will be richly rewarded. But a quick search reveals nothing of significant value. Well, it appears our ogre friend was a bit of a minimalist. No matter, who needs material wealth when we've got such good company? Besides, at least we won't need a cart to haul away any spoils. My back's grateful for that. Mend your wounds, and let a short respite renew your spirits, for soon we advance again. The journey is not yet over, and the depths of this dungeon still whisper with the promises of darker secrets and hopefully greater rewards. Right, gather round everyone. It's time we got moving. If memory serves me well, we're about to face a particularly vile character. This dungeon, with its air thick with whispers of betrayal and injustice, holds many secrets, and none more chilling than the tale of this here fellow. A grave robber caught selling bodies from Ravenhill Cemetery to the necromancer Morbant Fell, he was. Not the sort you'd invite over for a cup of tea. Yes, Dextren Ward is his name, quite the unsavory figure, if you ask me. He was meant to meet the sharp end of the executioner's axe, but here he rots instead. Councilman Millstipe in Darkshire, representing a people tormented by undead horrors, demands retribution. He seeks Ward's cold, dead hand as proof that justice, though delayed, will not be denied. Remember, brave companions, the House of Nobles may have spared him the noose, but they could not shield him from our coming. Before engaging, heed this advice. Clear out the nearby cells. This adversary's ability to instill fear will send us scattering in panic into the waiting arms of the Defias inmates, which is all too dangerous in these confined quarters, truth be told. Position yourselves wisely. Tanks and bruisers hold the line. Healers and spellcasters stay back, but within reach. Hold onto your hats. It's time to show this blighter what for. With a steady breath, we confront Dextren Ward. His battle stance is poised and menacing, a balance of rage and readiness. As the clash ensues, his frightening shout pierces the air. Chin up, we're made of sterner stuff. Stay close and don't let fear get the better of you. The battle is fierce, the clang of steel a relentless chorus. Keep at it, or else he might put us on the ropes instead. But justice, like a river, finds its course, and Dextren Ward falls, his schemes ended at last. As he collapses, the silence that follows is heavy with significance. Now, remember our task, my friends. We need his hand to bring back to the poor folk of Duskwood. Who of you is keen to sever his limb? Don't all volunteer at once. Fine, I'll do it myself. You lot and your delicate sensibilities. There, all sorted. Now, where were we? With Ward no more, we venture further into the prison. But keep your wands ready, because the Stockade has more tricks up its sleeve. Something tells me this dungeon isn't quite done with us yet. According to my information, there remains but one inmate of significance. Follow closely now as we navigate the hallways of the Stockades, where the oppressive air is thick with the scent of mildew and despair. Just as we are about to enter the final prison section, we catch sight of a figure hidden away in one of the holding cells. Well, if it isn't old Bruegal Ironknuckle, as slippery as an eel and twice as cunning. Who is he, you may wonder? This fellow here seems to not even exist in the prison complex's records, a rare encounter indeed. Upon entering his cell, there is no fanfare, no grand entrance, just the whispers of the soft underground draft and the crunch of our own footsteps on the cold stone floor. Be prepared, Bruegal is a master of direct combat, a proper tank and spank, as we call it. A fight without frills, straightforward and to the point. Let's show this dwarf what we're made of. Our mage and hunter, do your thing and bombard him with your spells and arrows, while the rogue of the group launches his strikes from the rear, swift and deadly. The clashing of steel and the casting of spells echo through the corridors, each of us playing our part to perfection. Overwhelmed and outmaneuvered, Ironknuckle eventually succumbs to our assault. Unlike the previous encounters, Bruegal's defeat is accompanied by a trove of treasures. Here, take the prison shank, a dagger known for its lethal precision and stealth. And don't overlook his very own iron knuckles. They pack a punch that'll make you question your life choices. Lastly, we have the jimmied handcuffs, exceptionally rare wristbands that are perfect for turning heads and locking arms. For intrepid adventurers such as yourselves, encountering Bruegal Ironknuckle is a tale worthy of a campfire story, a story of chance and fortune. Many enter the Stockade seeking him, yet only a daring few ever do. But those few who do find him, amidst the flickering torchlight, know they have faced a being as rare as the finest gem. The winding paths of the Stormwind Stockade lead us inexorably to its darkest corner, where the clamour of rebellion reaches its crescendo. Here, in the easternmost reach of the dungeon, lurks Bazil Thredd, the human orchestrator of chaos and lieutenant to the infamous Edwin Van Cleef. This bloke's not just any troublemaker. As the leader of the Defias Brotherhood's insurrection within these walls, his capture, or rather his demise, holds the promise of peace for the beleaguered city above. Ready yourselves, chaps. This one's for all the marbles. Welcome to the Stockade! Thredd's voice echoes mockingly through his prison cell as we approach. His words, laden with defiance, chill the air around us. More of the Warden's errand boys, he taunts, his laughter ringing hollow against the cold stone. Stay sharp, everyone. Keep a close watch on our tank. And healers, let your magic weave through the chaos. You are our lifeline in this fray. Flanked by a Defias insurgent and inmate, Bazil stands ready, his dual swords gleaming with the promise of combat. Take a gander at those blades. They look sharp enough to shave a hedgehog. Suddenly, the clash begins with Thredd's battle shout, rallying his mates to fight like cornered badgers, ferocious and desperate. Watch out for this fellow's smoke bomb. It can disorient even the steadiest among us, leaving us wide open for a coordinated assault. We can't let this smoke cloud our resolve. Shield your eyes and avoid inhaling this thick fog. The confrontation rages on, swords clash, and Thredd's boasts turn to grunts of exertion. It'll be quick, but it won't be painless, he sneers, but his words are drowned out by the sound of our combined effort. As his guards fall to our assault, Bazil Thredd, too, stumbles, defeated at last. Tell the Warden this prison is ours, he gasps, his final defiance as hollow as the victory he sought. We stand victorious, not just over the lieutenant, but over the chaos he championed. Suddenly, my Lawmaster eye catches something. Look, behind Bazil's fallen body, a chest. His ill-gotten gains, perhaps, now forfeit. Let's have a butcher's, shall we? What treasures has this scoundrel stashed away? Inside, we find not gold nor jewels, but sustenance. Food and drink to restore us, and light weaponry. Well, not quite the crown jewels, but it'll keep us going. A spot of nourishment and some arms for those who need them. A decent find, all things considered, don't you reckon? Let's head up to the city above and inform Warden Thellwater of our adventure. He'll need a strong drink after this, but we've managed to keep the rebellious debacle under wraps. Luckily, the Stormwind Times won't be covering this incident, since I've convinced them there's nothing newsworthy about a few missing prisoners. For the time being, that is. As the chapters of history turned, the cataclysm reshaped not only the landscapes of Azeroth, but also the fate of the Stormwind Stockades. The seismic upheavals awoke elementals beneath the prison, led by Lord Overheat, who wreaked havoc and massacred half the facility's remaining denizens. This calamity was but a prelude to further chaos, as another uprising soon swept through the halls, instigated by the cunning Randolph Moloch and the infamous Hogger. Once the terror of Elwyn Forest and leader of the Riverpaw Knolls, Hogger found a peculiar end to his freedom. After being bested in battle, rather than leading his pack in the afterlife and howling at his maker, he was captured and confined within these very walls. Unchanged, however, is Warden Thellwater's reliance on a new generation of adventurers to restore order amidst renewed riots. A theme he can't quite seem to shake. But with that, not all has been said about the Stockades, for there exists a sister prison, one cloaked in mystery, its secrets guarded by the waters of the canals that surround it and the watchful eyes of the Stormwind guards. But those stories, my dear friends, are whispers for another day. And so, dear explorers, we draw the curtains on our spirited venture into the harrowing halls of the Stormwind Stockades. As your faithful lawmaster, it has been an absolute honor to guide you through this bastion of tales, both grim and grand. But like all good things, this adventure too must come to an end. While you pack away your maps and stow your gear, remember, the world is as wide as you dare to wander. Farewell, adventurers. Keep your wits sharp and your swords sharper, for who knows where the winds might take us next.